Title: The Brilliant Revenge. Chapter 1: The Brilliant Misfit. Ethan Gray had always been the kind of person others gravitated toward. His sharp mind and endless creativity made him the go-to problem solver for friends, family, and colleagues alike. Whether it was a complex work project, a personal dilemma, or a wild business idea, Ethan could crack the code, find the angle, or dream up the solution. But brilliance came with a price. Ethan's empathy and eagerness to help made him blind to the ulterior motives of those who sought his counsel. He didn't notice how they praised him when they needed him and disappeared once their problems were solved. "You're a genius," Ethan, Rachel, his college friend, would say, handing him her unfinished thesis. And when she graduated with honors, there was no call, no gratitude, just silence. "I couldn't have done it without you," Mark, his co-worker, claimed after Ethan rewrote an entire pitch deck. Mark got the promotion, and Ethan got nothing. Ethan's life was a carousel of similar episodes. Every time he thought he'd built a genuine connection, it turned out to be transactional. Over the years, the pattern eroded his trust in people and chipped away at his self-worth. Chapter 2: The Breaking Point. It wasn't a grand betrayal that finally broke him. It was a series of small, cutting moments. One day, Ethan found himself working late at the office. He just helped his team secure a massive contract. As he packed up his laptop, he overheard two coworkers talking in the break room. "Ethan's such a sucker," one of them said. "He does all the heavy lifting, and we get all the glory." "I know, right," the other replied, laughing. "He doesn't even realize we're using him." The words hit Ethan like a punch to the gut. All the times he had ignored red flags, justified people's actions, and blamed himself for being too sensitive came rushing back. That night, he went home, stared at his reflection in the mirror, and made a decision. Things had to change. Chapter 3: A New Game Plan. Ethan didn't want revenge, not at first. He just wanted respect. He started small, learning to say no. When Rachel called asking for help with a work presentation, he politely declined. "I'm sure you can handle it," he said. But the real turning point came when he met Sophia, a sharp-witted consultant with a knack for reading people. She recognized the bitterness brewing beneath Ethan's surface and pushed him to channel it constructively. "Stop being their doormat," she told him. "If they're going to take advantage of you, make them pay for it. Literally, if you can." Ethan took her advice to heart. He started charging for his expertise, setting boundaries, and keeping his plans close to his chest. People who once exploited his generosity now had to earn his time. And when they didn't, Ethan had no qualms about letting them fail. Chapter 4: The Cascade of Consequences. Ethan's newfound assertiveness sent ripples through his world. Mark botched a major project without Ethan's help and was demoted. Rachel's career stalled when she couldn't rely on Ethan to fix her mistakes. At first, it felt vindicating, but as time went on, Ethan couldn't ignore the deeper implications. People started seeing him differently. Some respected him more, others resented him. Relationships he thought were genuine crumbled under the strain of his new boundaries. It was during this period that Ethan discovered just how deeply the betrayals had scarred him. He began to question not just others' motives, but his own capacity to trust and forgive. Chapter 5: The Betrayal That Changed Everything. Just as Ethan was finding his footing, Sophia betrayed him. She had been working with one of Ethan's competitors, using the strategies she shared with him to undermine his efforts. The betrayal cut deeper than any other. Sophia had been his confidant, his mentor in this new phase of life. Her actions shattered what little trust he'd rebuilt. Fueled by anger, Ethan devised a plan. If people saw him as a tool to be used, he would become a weapon. He began leveraging his brilliance not just to protect himself, but to dismantle those who sought to harm him. Chapter 6: The Game of Shadows. Ethan became a master of subtle manipulation. He turned his enemy's strengths into weaknesses, sowed discord among their ranks, and exposed their hypocrisy. Sophia's betrayal became her undoing as Ethan unveiled her duplicity to the very people she had allied with. But it wasn't just about revenge. Along the way, Ethan started to rediscover himself. He realized that his brilliance wasn't a curse, but a gift, one he could use to build a life on his own terms. Chapter 7. The Resolution. By the end of his journey, Ethan had transformed. He was no longer the naive genius who gave freely without expecting anything in return. He became someone who understood the value of his own worth and demanded that others respect it. And as for loyalty, Ethan learned that it wasn't something to be taken for granted. It was rare, precious, and worth fighting for. He found a small circle of people who truly cared for him, not for what he could do, but for who he was. As Ethan stood at the pinnacle of his newfound success, he reflected on the path he'd taken. The betrayals had hurt, but they had also shaped him. And in the end, they had led him to a place of strength, clarity, and self-respect.
I hope you enjoy the story and also learn one or two things from it. Until I come your way next time, stay cool and sharp. Remember to subscribe, like and share with friends and family.